that's cute. That's cute. Feeling fresh. Family versus friends. Oh, I wonder if the Shifty Stations is going to be good. New item I have to look at picking up. Oh, yep, I forgot about this. So since last time, I have gotten the amiibo. And, yeah. I have the witch outfit. I love this witch outfit so much. Like, that's just so cool. I don't remember if it's, like, gear is anything great. I don't care for this one. These other two things are great. I don't care for the middle section. But yeah, I got the Wish costume from the amiibo. So cool. So cool. I didn't even notice a tree here. Ohana means family. Family is full of friends. I thought the tree... I was like, wait, did that tree just disappear? We got snowflakes. We got snow. So when choosing a team, well, yeah, I get family. I also totally get friends, but I'm going friends because in the modern world, friends are family. It's both. You can choose your friends, you can't choose your family. Blood of the Covenant is thicker than water of the womb, you know, stuff like that. So that's why I'm choosing Team Friends. And yeah, welcome to Splat Chat number 12, the first Splat Chat of 2019, episode 12. That may make you think it's been going on for a year now. That's not actually true. We've only been doing it since, I want to say, March. But we did 2 episodes in June and 2 episodes in October. So I think that's how we get to 12. Something like that. I actually want to not... I don't think it's here. Maybe it is. Oops. Oop. Oop. I do not want to. Style. I actually do want to change, like, how my... I want to go back to the male. Because I've been using the female. I like to switch off between the female Octoling and the male, whatever, every few months or so. I'm amazed they just don't make... Yeah, they make you go back to the menu screen and create the character and... Which one do I think I normally do just the normal ones. Yeah. Yeah, same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Does not look nearly as good on the boy. Actually, I'm just thinking of, what is it? Not Amagi and her brilliant companions. Yamada and the Seven Witches. That's what I'm thinking of. Yamada and the Seven Witches. Let's mess with our equipment. We have the stuff I normally like. The only hat I really like is this one. Because I don't like the ability on the glasses. I don't like the worm hat. This one's... Let's use the glasses for a little bit. Let's get some swim speed boots. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. In the days go by, waters flowing under. Alright. Just remind me, I'm actually working on the highlight compilation. The stream highlight compilation for 2018. It's more or less what you'd expect, but it's pretty... I should have it out in like 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll have it out on like the 14th when I start up college again. But yeah. we're going to do one match, and then we'll get into the actual Game of the Year stuff. How I'm going to break it up is we'll do 10 through 6, then we'll do the news, then we'll do, or maybe we'll do, yeah, we'll do 10 through 6, then we'll do 5 through 2, then we'll do another list I have, kind of like an honorable mentions. It's not actually an honorable mentions, but you can think of it like that. And then we'll do my Game of the Year, and that'll end off the show. So they actually brought in the sparkly ink from the single-player campaign. I actually hate the sparkly ink. I think I've said this before. It's not like egregious or anything, but I just don't like it. But I guess, you know, it's actually not that abrasive here. So I guess I don't really have much to complain about. Oh, I didn't think I was that close to it. Shit. Okay, I am curious about this map. I like the idea of the things being in the middle. Oh, wow, I got killed by it. It somehow, I'm assuming, chooses someone to target. So at least you've always got some ink that's not guaranteed, but, like, is more in your favor. I didn't even think about taking those guys' heads. They also count. Oh, and they've got little candles on them. That's cute. I like the idea of the winter splat, like a winter themed Splatfest. My problem is, though, that, how do I put this? It's, okay, you're doing a Splatfest themed around the holidays. It should at least, like, take place within the holiday season, or before the holiday season, preferably. But instead they did a Smash Bros. Splatfest, which is nice to see Nintendo crossover Splatfest. That's something I wanted. And I think the first, like, I wish there was a Pokemon crossover Splatfest, but that just didn't happen. Instead we got whatever the last Splat in chat was. I don't remember what the last one was. It was something stupid. But then we got the Smash one, Heroes vs. Villains. I picked, I think, Team Villain, and I think Team Villain won it. So yeah, no, Splatfests have gone good for me. I think I have 200 Salty Sea Snails right now built up. I don't really spin them that much, because, again, I found my perfect gear very, like almost a year ago now. So I haven't really had need for new gear in a while. I was hoping to get to them before they got to me. But yeah, so... But yeah, I wish this was like... I don't know, because I'm glad they're doing them at the beginning of the month again, because that's when I like the Splatfest. I mean, there's only, what, like 6 left? I think there's only 6 Splatfests left, because they're only doing them for, like, a year. I don't think so. Yeah. If we had taken more of the middle, maybe. The 2019 goggle. Ever since, after... We needed to stop doing the glasses after 2009. From 2010 onwards, the glasses just don't work anymore. I don't know why we keep pushing the New Year's glasses. They were cool in the from 2000 to 2009, but since then, no thank you. So, Game of the Year. Welcome to Splat Chat number 12. Like I already laid out what we're going to do tonight. So, we're going to do Game of the Year stuff. Now, I've only been keeping track of my Game of the Year since 2013. Normally, when I started off doing my Game of the Year, I had all sorts of, like, rules. I had, like, 10 rules or so. Whereas, like, anything that's on the list has to follow these rules. Since then, I've stopped giving a shit. So, like, some of the old rules are, it must have released in current year, no ports, no remakes, no remasters, no DLC, and I must have beaten the game. Right? These were all rules, and a lot of them are common sense, and I know some people still follow, like, rules like these for their Game of the Year list. But as time goes on, I've slowly like removed some of these rules, and I've just stopped giving a shit. The only 2 rules I have is I must have played the game this year, right? So any game I've played this year, both on stream and off stream, does count. Even though I don't think there's a single game that I played on stream this year that... No, there's one. There's one exception. Actually, 2. I know that kind of plays my hand, but you get my point. And it cannot have been on the previous year's list. So, if you want an example, Splatoon is off the list because it was on my Game of the Year list last year. Which I've never actually released a Game of the Year list, so give me a second and I'll actually find mine. But those are the only 2 rules. It only has to follow those 2 rules. Other than that, anything goes as far as I'm concerned. So give me a second. I want to find my previous year's... I don't actually have some of the previous year's lists. Like, I couldn't find my 2013 list. I couldn't find my 2016 list. But I have the winners for each of the years, like the number 1. So give me a second. 2013, BioShock Infinite was my Game of the Year. 2014, Shovel Knight. 2015, I have Splatoon. I couldn't actually find my 2015 list. And I was thinking, oh, 2015 was going to be Undertale, because that was the year Undertale came out. But I didn't actually play Undertale until January of 2016, so it can't win it. But Undertale took my Game of the Year in 2016, Breath of the Wild in 2017. Right, that's it up to this point. Those were all my Game of the Year winners. Other things that have been on there, Splatoon 2 was on last year. Right now, I'm saying Splatoon 1 was my number 1 in 2015, but I just don't remember anything else. I remember Mario Maker came out in 2015. I think I played Affordable Spaceship Adventure in 2015, but I just don't remember. I legitimately don't remember. But yeah, no, there's a bias towards Nintendo and indie games, if it wasn't obvious, because that's usually, being a poor broke college student, I mostly play indie games or Nintendo, but then the Wii U kind of sucked, and I love BioShock. I love BioShock as a franchise, so they're kind of the one exception to that rule. Yeah, that's how you go. Another, like I said, with those rules, before we actually get into it, I must have played it this year. So anything I have not played cannot be nominated. So that means no PlayStation games. I do not own a PlayStation 4, even though I've attempted to buy one 3 times this year and just didn't do it all 3 times. So no PlayStation. So that's no Spider-Man, no God of War, even though I guarantee they would have been on it if I had played them. And no Red Dead, just because I didn't play Red Dead. No Odyssey, because I didn't play Odyssey, yeah. And I just refused to buy a game with microtransactions. It wouldn't have, even if I loved it, it wouldn't have made it on the list of principle because I refused to game with microtransactions. I'm just saying it how it is. I'm definitely saying it how it is. I didn't really, because Nintendo kind of had a slow year this year, I don't feel like I played that many games this year. I did play around a dozen or so, but there were some picks, like the top half of this list, from like number 6 onwards, I'm really happy, but the bottom levels, well, they're all good games, I just didn't put enough time into them. I felt like the bottom of the list is a lot more shaky than the top of the list, is what I'm saying. But enough stalling. Number 10, Minute. Minute is a black and white Zelda-style game where you go around and you only have a minute to live and you have to solve some puzzles and whatnot. It's fun. It's a fun little game. It's very short. If people are going to have a problem with it, because if you're a broke college student like me, you only have so much money per month. And while, yeah, it's only $10, it's only, like, you can beat the entire game in just, like, 2 hours. You can 100% it in, like, 3 or 4. It's a very simple game. I still enjoy it. I think there's a lot of good in it. And it more or less, because there's nothing on this list that represents, I did the Year of Zelda this year. And the Year of Zelda was a lot of fun, but I didn't feel right putting anything from the Year of Zelda on here. Even though I probably would have put the original Legend of Zelda just because of how much fun I had with it. But yeah, so Minute's like my close enough to like yeah, this is what represents the Year of Zelda, which was... I really enjoyed the Year of Zelda. Did I not get to nearly enough games? Did I never beat Zelda 2? Definitely. But what I played, I really liked. It would have been Zelda. I could have... I thought about putting Zelda 1 at the very bottom, but I don't know. That just didn't feel right. Because that game has problems. But when I think back on it, I just had so much fun with it. There was something about exploring it and like kind of knowing where I'm going, but not knowing the full picture, that just made that game really work in my eyes. But yeah, Minute. It's $10, few hours. If you're interested in it, in a 2D Zelda style experience like Zelda 1, with a neat gimmick that I don't think they take far enough, it is worth it. There is definitely a lot to it. I hope they do a sequel that spends a lot more time with the game, maybe does a Majora's Mask style mechanic in a 2D space, put a little bit more time into the graphics and whatnot. I mean, you can stick with the black and white aesthetic, but it has a lot of potential. In some areas, it feels like more of a proof of concept than anything else. But I hope they do continue to do something in the future for it. Number 9 is kind of in a similar situation. Donut County. This game was, I think it was PS4 and PC and maybe PS4 and iOS exclusive for the longest time. Man, it was some sort of, it was exclusive to PS4 and it was on iOS or something for a long time. But it came to the Switch at the end of the year, and I picked it up on Switch at the very end of the year, and it's great. It's also, if I had a problem with it, it's also very short. I can see why someone will have a problem with it for its length, because it's, again, it took me less time to beat Donut County than I did to 100% Minute. They may have taken around the same time. So I can see where people are going to have a problem with that. Plus, the gameplay is also very simplistic. But again, it's only like $12. That's very cheap. You can afford that. But it's just a little... You play as a raccoon who creates these holes, and the closest thing I could compare it to is Katamari Damacy, which I wanted to play this year, but it came out on the same day as Ultimate, so I just didn't get around to it. I think we have this. Yeah. We have just enough in their area. But it came out around Katamari Damacy, and on Switch, it came out like a week later, and it's really enjoyable. It's a really fun little game. It's very cathartic, and it's just got some great writing. It's very charming. The writing is super charming. The characters are fun. It's very simple. It's pretty easy, but it's really enjoyable. I love it. I'm a sucker for the good writing and whatnot. It does a lot well. If you have the time or the money, pick it up. Pick it up. It's a good time. And it's on everything now. It's not Switch exclusive anymore. Number 8. Number 8. So, I said nothing on this list can be from a previous year's list. Right? So anything that was on my 2017 list cannot be on my 2018 list. And yeah, I stand by this rule. But one of the rules I've had... So as I've said, I got rid of rules in past years, right? And I've only ever added one rule, which is the one I just said. That if it was on a previous year's list, it cannot be on a new one. Because when I took out, it must have... When I took out the game must have released in current year, it was kind of like an oversight thing. So I just added it on. But one of the rules I held on to for the longest time was no DLC. I felt like DLC was cheating, right? It just didn't make any sense. And then you have the Shovel Knight DLC. The Shovel Knight DLC, Plague of Shadows, and Spectre of Torment are so good. And they're basically entire games, but having a no DLC rule, putting them on my Game of the Year list would feel like cheating. So I just never did it. But... and Spectre, Torment, and Plague of Shadows are not my number 8, by the way. Might as well say that. They've been on previous year's lists or whatever. Because when I finally took off the rule, then the reason I'm giving this all is because Splatoon 2's Octo expansion is making the list. I still feel kind of wrong for putting DLC on a list like this, But, you know, I'll just get over it. Splatoon 2's Octo expansion is what I wanted from Splatoon single player. We did it on stream, again. We played some of it on stream anyways. And yeah, it was really fun. It had a great final boss. I still think about that. The level design was great. It was very creative with how it did it. It had a good setting. It had great characters. It's finally what won me over with the idea of Pearl and Marina being a lesbian. You know, there are some times where I'm like, I hate the idea of forcing representation where representation wasn't intended. Like, it's let's call it the reverse J.K. Rowling. But Pearl and Marina, after seeing that, I get it now. I totally see it. I see Bert and Bert and Ernie have always been the one exception to that rule. I totally get where it's coming from, even if they're just cartoon or puppets or whatever. But yeah, so that won me over. The characters were great. The level design, so many great levels. Even the ones I didn't, like the ones that infuriated me endlessly, the 8 balls, still were pretty fun. They did some good redux and boss fights. Actual getting to the ending and when you find out what's going on was great. The final boss was not at all what I expected, but it's how Splatoon has to do bosses from now on. I'm sick of, spoiler alert, DJ Octavio being the boss. I'm sick of the Octolings being the boss. If they make a Splatoon 3, get rid of the Octolings. Also, add a Battle Royale mode. Battle Royale mode seemed to be the hot shit, and much like how Splatoon 2 added a Horde mode, I guarantee you Splatoon 3 is going to have a Battle Royale mode when that comes out in like 2 years. We're probably going to get another Splatoon by the time the Switch is done with its lifespan. Just a guess. Just a guess. But yeah, the Octo expansion, it's just a lot of fun. If you have Splatoon 2, if you like Splatoon, well, yeah, you know, I still recommend buying it because it's a lot of fun. But it's one of those games that's a lot of fun to buy early on into their lifespan, just because you know they're going to keep adding more content. You know that's going to keep coming. Right? And I just kind of... So right now, if you buy it now, which I do still recommend, there's only going to do Splatfest for so long, because even though I doubt it's that hard to program, they're just not going to keep doing them forever, which kind of sucks, even though I would love that. So yeah. But if you have the game, the DLC is most definitely worth it. If you don't have the game, pick it up with the DLC. It's definitely really good. Number 7. Number 7. Give me a second. I have to open up my list. Okay. So like I said earlier, one of the rules was you must have completed the game. There is one game on this year's list that I did not complete. But I'm still putting it on the list anyways, because I played enough of it to get a feeling of what it's like. So when the Game Awards happened, I talked about, oh, these are the games I liked, these are the games I didn't, and I consider doing this show like a Game Awards, where I say, like, oh, this is my favorite narrative, this is my favorite whatever, but I was like, nah, let's just do my top 10. A lot of great games. But in the Game Awards video, the Smash and Chat, I talked about how there are all these great indie games, and you should pick up one of them. And, well, yeah, I had already picked up some of them. Well, one of them in particular, Celeste. There were tons of others. The Messenger, Into the Breach, Dead Cells, Donut County, Florence, Obra Dinn. Just a ton of great indie games, of which... But I was like, if I'm going to preach that, I should also follow it. So I bought 2 indie games. Into the Breach and Dead Cells. But because of the holiday season in my busy year, I've only had time to put time into one of them. And that's my number 7 game, Dead Cells. I didn't play Into the Breach. I wanted to, because I liked Faster Than Light. So I'll play it eventually, but maybe it'll be on next year's list. We'll see. But so far, Dead Cells, again, I haven't beaten it. I've never completed a run. I've died a lot. But I feel like I've put enough time into the game to more or less get what it's going for. And yeah, I think it's earned the spot, because it's got a lot going for it. Because there's another theme on this list is, this is the year I decided I loved Metroidvanias. I've always kind of been on the fence. There's some I've liked, but it's just, like, I've liked, well, I'm a personal fan of Metroid 2. I've always wanted to play Symphony of the Night, and I like Other M, but that's a story for another day. And but I didn't care for Ori and the Blind Forest, so that's kind of my complication with these things. But what I thought was like, hey, let's give this game a chance, right? I'll give Dead Cells a chance, because again, everyone was saying how great it was. And yeah, I'm also not, I like roguelikes in theory, but I'm not very good at them. On the Switch, I have Binding of Isaac, Tumbleseed, and Enter the Gungeon, all roguelikes. All of them I suck at. Tumbleseed is so hard. It is the hardest roguelike I have played. I don't even... Ugh. Isaac I used to be good at, but haven't been good at in a while. And Enter the Gungeon I'm okay at. I mean, I don't think anyone's really like... Unless you're like a professional, nobody's really great with Gungeon. But, because Gungeon is hard, but I've had some really good, really fun runs of Gungeon. And Dead Cells is another roguelike, but there's just something about Dead Cells that even though it's hard and I've died a lot, it's really accessible. I like all the weapons. It's so fun to play as. I love the freedom to choose. I've been like trying to figure out like what synergizes with what and how to like do things. I'm kind of trying to stay vague here because I don't want to spoil or anything. But Dead Cells is great. I've been enjoying it. Again, I didn't beat it, so that may be keeping it from ranking higher. Also, my biases against the two genres also may be keeping it. Even though, again, I'm starting to enjoy Metroidvania. Well, I'm hoping to change that more and more this year. But yeah, no, I just enjoyed Dead Cells. I'll play more of it soon. I've been busy with, again, Smash came out and I was big into Smash. And then there were, God, and I've just been I was busy with school and whatnot. Because I was done with college for the semester and now I'm going back for another semester. I'll just keep working. Keep working. And yeah, Dead Cells. I just need to put more time into it, and I recommend it. If you like either of those genres, or if you like Dark Souls style games, because everyone compares it to like a 2D Dark Souls, which... They say the same thing about Sultan Sanctuary, which was another game I considered picking up this year, but just didn't. For reasons. So, number 6. Number 6 is Opus Magnus. This is a game made by Zachtronic Games. If you don't know who Zachtronic is, they've done Infinifactory, and they make puzzle games like Infinifactory and Space Camp. Both great puzzle games. You may also know them for the game that's name I am forgetting, but the game that inspired Minecraft came from Zachtronic, right? I don't think the studio existed at the time, but it's the same guy. It's called Infiniminer, that's it. And the game Infinifactory was highly inspired by it. And yeah, so I was considering buying I've been looking into buying their newest game for a while now, but I was finally like, you know, I'm gonna do it in the Steam sale in, I want to say November. I finally picked it up. I beat it within like a week. It is by far, out of all of Zachtronic's games, and there are some, oh my god, Space Chem is, oh my god, it drives me crazy. I enjoy the hell out of it. Same thing with Infinifactory is approachable at first, and then just ramps up into crazy difficult near the end. But it's done really well. They both games have been on Game of the Year lists in past. Or, I mean, if I could find them. They probably were anyways. I know Infinifactory was on my Game of the Year list like 2 years ago. Because when I picked it up. But I picked up Opus Magnus. It is the most accessible Zachtronic game they've made. I was able to beat it in just a few days. And I loved it. From beginning to end, the puzzle design is so well done, figuring it out, all the tools they give you, the fact that there is no like, oh, you have to do it within this many moves, or you have to do it with only this much money. It's all you challenge yourself. Oh, do you think you could do this better? Well, do it. Have other players been able to do this better than you? Figure out how you can do it better. It's all about a set your own pace, which is also true in Infinite Factory and Space Chem. But there's just something about Opus Magnus that made it so accessible. Because what you're doing in the game is you're making machines to, like, repeat patterns and whatnot to make, like, alchemy, to do alchemy. And it all follows principles of alchemy and whatnot. And there's, like, a story going on with, like, a rebellion and a house, well, not a rebellion per se, but a house being overthrown and trying to do stuff about it. You're playing as an alchemist. It works really well. At first, I thought I didn't care about the story, and I didn't. But I eventually, by the end, got invested into it. I'll admit that. It's a great game. It was what surprises me the most is because, again, Space Chem and Infinite Factory were so hard. Opus Magnus was accessible. I was able to play it, and I was able to beat it so fast. And there's tons of, like, user-generated levels and bonus levels and whatnot. There's, like, this board game that, I'll admit, I only ever beat, like, once, because I just could not get the hold of it. It's just, I don't know, something about it's funny, the game for kids lost me, but the actual puzzles in the puzzle game I was able to figure out easily enough. I don't know what you're gonna do. And yeah, that's number 6. So we'll get into news here in a minute after this match. Let's talk about the Octo Valley station thingy. So this Octo stage, it's okay. I like the idea of the turrets running around, and they can give away your enemy position. They can give away both your position and the enemy's position, which is kind of neat. It's very spacious. You've got multiple ways in. I like that they didn't just use these turret guys. They also used bounce pads and whatnot. Yeah, no, this isn't a bad stage, honestly. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's pretty okay. There have been far worse ones. I think there hasn't been a good Shifty Station stage in a while. Most of them have sucked, but this one's fine. I wish they had just, because we are not getting any new maps and whatnot. I don't even think we're getting any new outfits outside of, again, the festive stuff, which I bet this is the winter stuff is our last festive stuff. I wish they had done more of them, because I like the idea of the festive gear, but the game just didn't use it enough. They only used it for these last 2 Splatfests, and they gave out a t-shirt at some point. I wish they had used it more. I wish they had done more... I wish they had done more seasonal Splatfests like this, where it's actually snowing and whatnot. It sucks that they waited a full year out from the game to do it with the Halloween and Christmas Splatfest. I'm calling this the Christmas Splatfest based on, like, the colors and whatnot, like the white and gold. It actually feels more like a New Year's Splatfest, if anything. But yeah, just based on these 2, I don't think it's that bad. Yeah. I like the snow. Again, I still don't... You know, if we're using it like a snow-any kind of gimmick, and based that I'm more focused on, like, doing the map than I am anything else, I actually think the sparkly ink kind of works online. I wouldn't want it all the time. I think that would get super annoying, and I still like normal ink more. I like how it looks. But yeah, no, I guess I don't hate the sparkly ink. We lost totally. We have barely a dent in their side. Yeah. Oh, have I even mentioned I'm sick? I got sick the day after Christmas, and I have still been sick. I'm so done with it. And it's not like I'm sick. I'm not running a fever, or I don't have a stomach ache or chest congestion or anything like that. I just have a runny nose, which is hurting my throat as well, because with all the mucus and whatnot. But that's annoying. I want it to be over with. It's gone on way longer than I wanted to. So before we get into the rest of the list, we have the news. There's been, because it's the end of the year, usually January especially is like a dry month. And while we may have news, there was no news in December, outside of the Game Awards, which we already covered. I've got a few personal things I want to look at. There was a big Smash Bros. One just yesterday, so we'll be looking at that. But we'll get to that. So this happened right, like on the 9th of December. Epic announced that they're doing a cross-platform. Epic, for Fortnite and whatnot, has this cross-platform system, and they're giving it away for free, basically. If you're like making a game on the Epic platform and you're putting it on PS4 and whatnot, you can use their servers and whatnot and add them to your game for cross-platform, which is great. This is something I would expect them to charge a lot of money for, but they seem like they're doing it for free, or at least that's what they said. Which I know a lot of people hate Fortnite because it's popular, but hard take, Fortnite's actually not bad. It brought healthy competition to the Battle Royale genre, which PUBG dominated, and basically PUBG shot itself in the foot this year. Maybe the end of last year, actually. The game's not bad. PUBG is not a bad game. It has problems, and between Fortnite and Call of Duty, they've kind of competed it out of existence. Not a bad game. And Fortnite, not a bad... Yes, it's popular with children. Okay, that happens. Look, somebody's playing it right there. Fortnite's not a bad game. And they've done a lot of great... Like, if I had to pick, like the most important game in the industry, or the game that's done the best for the gaming industry, would not be the death of Telltale, but would instead be Fortnite. Because Fortnite's done great things. It finally brought us cross-platform. It's brought the Epic Games Launcher, which, I mean, it's already existed, but it's brought a viable competitor to Steam that's not just like Ubisoft's Uplay or EA Origin. Right? Is it not GOG? It's GOG? Is that it? Well, there is some sort... There are Steam competitors, but I feel like the Epic Games Launcher has the biggest chance of actually being a competitor. And yeah, Fortnite's eventually gonna fade away. That will happen eventually. But, in the position it is, it gets way too much shit because it's played by kids. It really does. It's not a bad game. I totally get why people enjoy it. I got why people enjoyed PUBG. I enjoyed PUBG. And Fortnite became popular because it's the free alternative that knew what PUBG did and did it better. Did Boss Key Studios die this year as well as, because I know Telltale died this year, which... Ooh, I should talk about that. Ooh, I just thought of something. But yeah, I'll talk about it here in a second, actually. Well, we've got two things about Epic Games. But yeah, no, Fortnite gets way too much shit. It's just kids play. Anything that's popular kids will be hated. Because adults who act like children hate playing with children who actually act like children. You know what I mean. Yeah, no. That's fine. Also on the Epic Games Launcher, if you have it, What Remains of Edith Finch is going to be free starting the 10th. I already own it. I bought it last year after the request of Joseph Anderson. Well, after seeing his parts of his video. It was like my number 3 last year. It's such a great game. And it's free on the Epic Games Launcher for some reason. Go pick it up. That just broke a few days ago. I highly recommend it. It's a great narrative game, and it's free. There's no reason not to pick it up. Also, talking about free games, free-ish. If you have Xbox Game with Gold, Celeste is free. There's another great game right there. 2 free games. Free, again, Xbox Game with Gold is free-ish. But yeah. Yeah, there's 2 great games. But back to Telltale. So yeah, I think Boss Keat Studios, after they did Radical Heights, I think they shut down this year, which, yeah, that kind of sucks. And the other one is Telltale, which, no, they, God, how they treated their employees and their closer, screw them. But, did you see they put the Minecraft story mode, the first 5 episodes on Netflix, and you can, like, play them on your TV? Because on New Year's, I did Bandersnatch, and, yeah, no, Bandersnatch was pretty good. It's about what I expected from a Black Mirror episode, and how they did it was, like, I had heard it was about, like, free will, but I didn't actually expect it to, like, break the 4th wall. Again, not getting any spoilers or anything. But yeah, no, Bandersnatch was good. I'm a avid fan of Black Mirror. Sometimes, I've never seen The Handmaid's Tale, but I always hear whenever people talk about watching the show or even reading the book, they're always like, oh, it's so hard. I can only watch, like, 1 episode or read a chapter or 2. And then have to, like, put it down because it's just hard. That's me with Black Mirror. I can only watch so much Black Mirror in a day, and then I just have to put it down. Like, I've tried watching, like, 2 episodes in one day, and it was just too much for me. Black Mirror is a lot, sometimes. Sometimes it's not bad. God, this guy's just running. Oh my god. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, but yeah, Minecraft story modes on Netflix. If you've seen RT Games, he did like the first like 8 episodes or something. Great videos. I wish he'd do season 2 just for the fun of it. I know he hates them, but those are great videos. Especially the one where he gets to the Minecraft YouTubers. Nails it on the head. Oh my god, that's my description of it perfectly. I have no interest in playing Minecraft story mode. I think it's stupid, honestly. But I think if Telltale had put, like, Bandersnatch up on Netflix earlier than when they did, and if they had put Minecraft story mode on there, probably Telltale would still be alive. I think Telltale doing something like this, or just any game studio that wants to make, like, adventure games where you have the 2 choices, great idea. Great idea putting these games on Netflix. Because now we know Netflix is capable of it. I'm totally on board with it. It's like I saw someone over there. Where? I can get you back there. Okay, next up. So I was thinking, so Reggie announced that the NES Classic and the SNES, or just Nintendo. I say Reggie, but I'm specifically referring to Nintendo. The NES and SNES Classics were discontinued. So if you don't have one, pick them up. Again, I have one. We just played Zelda 2 with it. And we will be playing a game with it starting next week for the next theme year, which I will officially announce at the end of the stream. I've more or less given it away already. I'll fully admit that. But that's happening, right? So if you want one, pick one up. It's definitely, I enjoy it. I enjoy the little sucker. And you might enjoy it as well. If you have the Switch, if you're paying money for the Switch shit, you know, the shitty online service, some of the games you can get on there, and they have some games that aren't available on there, which is cool. But yeah. This makes it, I think, even though I know Nintendo doesn't want to take away sales from the N64 Classic, I said the reason they didn't do an N64 Classic this year was because they were putting money, because they had the SNES and NES Classics on the market still, because they had to reprint them. But they specifically said when they stopped production on the NES Classic to make the SNES Classic, right, they had to stop production on one on the other, and then they booted up production for both. So if I had to take a guess, they have to stop production on both to make the N64, which I think is going to happen, and we're going to get the N64 Classic this year. or soon-ish, because while the Switch is doing well, I could still totally see them doing it. And they'll actually treat it with respect like the PlayStation Classic, which I said, I remember I talked about buying it. I backed out. I think I talked about that. I definitely talked about that last time. Since then, it has gone on sale for down to $60. If it drops down to 40, I will buy one. Because I know we can mod it. But don't. Not like modding is legal, and I would never encourage that. I don't encourage that. I've actually never modded the NES and SNES Classics. I've always considered it, even though you shouldn't do that, and I do not encourage it. But I just never did it. I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But yeah. So yeah. An N64 Classic in the next year, that's going to be cool. I don't expect them to ever do a GameCube. Not for like another like 10 years. Nah, maybe, yeah, let's say 10. Let's just be generous. Way overestimating it. But yeah, no, I'm excited. There's some... I was actually hoping we were going to get an N64 Classic this year, just so I could do Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask for the Year of Zelda. Of course, even if they had, I doubt we would have done... Maybe we probably would have done Majora. But it's just we ran out of time with the Year of Zelda. It's made me reevaluate how I do these theme years and how much time I have and whatnot. But yeah. So I don't know why. So, did you know one of the hardest amiibos to get, and it might be the most expensive amiibo, is the Box Boy amiibo. The Box Boy amiibo it's for a game made by HAL Laboratories, the guy who did Kirby, or the team that does Kirby. And it's a very simple like 2D game about a Box Boy, and its amiibo is like the rarest amiibo because it again never came out in America and it's never done any of that. And I was thinking, you know what I want in 2019? I want a Box Boy amiibo. I want that to finally come out in the West, and I think we should give Box Boy a second chance with a collection because they made 3 games. I've only ever played the first one, admittedly, but the first one is a great puzzle game. So I would love a collection of all 3 games with an amiibo for, I want it to be like 50 or 40. They'd probably charge a full 60 though for the game with the amiibo, but I'd love a Box Boy collection. I hope we get a Box Boy collection this year. Just because, again, that's one of the rarest amiibos, and I want it to be available in the West. I want it to be available for more people. I mean, it's probably going to sell out super quick, but I hope they do it. I really do. There were other things I want in 2019. The only other thing I still want in 2019, I want Mother 3. I think Mother 2 hit its 20... Mother 2 hits its, I want to say 20 or 30 year anniversary. Mother 3, or maybe Mother 3 hits its 20th, Mother 2 hits its 30th, or... No, that's not right. Those numbers aren't right. Maybe they are. They hit all the games hit some sort of anniversary, or well, Mother 3 might be like 13 years old or something like that. But I want more. I want Mother 3 in the West because I've refused to play it on emulation. Venny's doing it right now. But I want Mother 3. I want it to be available in the West. I want to actually pay money to support Nintendo. Even if they charge $60, I will think it will have been worth it. That's something I've wanted, and hopefully this year it finally happens. It won't, but I hope it does. Because I've always wanted to support that. I've always wanted to support Mother 3. Yeah, we know what else is coming out. Oh, Persona 5. Shit, yeah. I forgot about that. So, we got Persona 5R? We're not getting any details until March. But my guess is it is the port of the Switch game. We are getting Persona on Switch. It's called Persona 5R or 5S. I see no reason for them not to. They don't have an exclusivity contract with Sony or anything. Even though the trailer does use the Sony logo, I still think we're getting it on Switch. I do. I hope so. I think it's... I've been interested. Again, I don't have a PS4, so I couldn't play it. But I have been interested in the game. I saw it once over at a friend's place. Yeah, no, it looks kind of fun. And I will, if it comes out this year, I will most definitely buy it. The Mother Prime trilogy happened before the Game Awards, so I think we've already talked about that. Again, I'm totally on board with it. I just hope they don't charge a full $60 for it, unless the games do have better graphics, or at least like the first one does. I wouldn't mind an HD remake of Metroid Prime 1, honestly. I'd love all three. I don't know. I hear different things. I know some people love Metroid Prime 3 because it actually has like characters and whatnot, even though that's the reason why people hate Other M. I've heard there's something great about like the opening scene of 2, or maybe it's the first one. There's tons of, right? People love the Metroid Prime games. I don't know. I feel like the third one is considered the bad one, the black sheep of the Metroid Prime trilogy. And as I have predicted, we are either, I know we're getting Animal Crossing, we're getting Yoshi this year. We're assuming getting Yoshi sometime between March and July, because I'm predicting a Nintendo Direct this month. I might as well say that. But I'm predicting Yoshi, yeah, soon-ish. And I'm predicting Metroid. I'm predicting Yoshi soon. I'm predicting Animal Crossing sometime in between like May and, God, I guess October. I think the earlier you put out Animal Crossing, even though we've seen very little of it, the better. I want Animal Crossing earlier in the year. I'd prefer it to be a May game, but I can see them waiting until the summer or whatnot. I can just see that. And then we're going to either go into the holiday, but I can also see it being a holiday title. Even though for me, it's a summer game, right? For me personally, Animal Crossing is a summer game. I have memories of playing it during the summer. So I think it would be a great summer game, but I know it's a system seller, so as long as they get it out before the end of the year, I mean, it's going to sell systems, but they could do it for the holiday season. They're going to have a holiday bundle no matter what. Is the background like party stuff, or is it just a generic background? I see a gumball machine, I see a jukebox. I don't know what some of that, is that a bongo drum? Oh my god. Yeah. And then yeah, I predict either for our holiday or whatever, we're going to get either Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3. I know neither of them really feel like holiday games. And I do feel like Bayonetta 3 is more along than Metroid Prime 4 is. But I think if we see Metroid Prime, I'm predicting we're going to get a Direct this month. So, like an actual Direct. I mean, I wouldn't be mad with a Nano. But I could see us, if it's a Nano, we won't get anything from any of the games. But if it's like a real Direct, if we see Metroid or Bayo, they're definitely coming this year. If we don't, then we got nothing this year. Well, okay, if by the time E3 comes around, like if there's nothing at E3, we aren't getting either of them. I know some people think 2020, we'll see. There's also, are we getting a new console generation this year? Which I still think we are. I know a lot of people are saying 2020, but Microsoft and Sony just have so little on the horizon. I could see a new console generation kicking off the PS5 with The Last of Us 2 this year. Because I think that's coming out this year. You know what comes out this month? Kingdom Hearts 3. If I had a PS4, well, I know it's available on Xbox. I would be super excited. Because I actually played the first Kingdom Hearts on PS2. Really enjoyed it, as a matter of fact. Never played any of the sequels. Okay, I played a little of 2, and I do kind of know the general story, and like, it was sad when I was watching like one of the trailers, and it was like, everyone was freaking out because Aqua got Norded. And then like a few months after the trailer came out, I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, oh my god, I actually... It was when the ProZD video came out, like a few days later maybe, and I'm watching and I'm like, oh my god, I actually know what that means. I know enough about Kingdom Hearts to know what Aqua got Norded means. I'm not very proud of it, but it's true. I don't know, I'm just not the biggest... Yeah, it's... I like the first game, and I do, yeah. And if I had a PS4, I would definitely do it, but I'm not going to pay as much for that limited edition Kingdom Hearts PS4 with all the games. Even though it is cool that you can do that. That you can get all the games on like one disc or whatnot. That's kind of cool. And our last piece of news for the night is the Smash Bros. Like, they looked into the game and like looked at the code. And I'm just going to put up a general spoiler warning right here. If you give a shit about this stuff, which I know some people weirdly enough do, you will kind of be paranoid about. Yeah, just go away. Be back in like just a few minutes. I'm only going to be gone a few minutes. We're going to change out. I'm going to go get some water after this, and we're going to change weapons. I'm going to get that bucket that I like because I haven't used that in a while, and then we'll talk about something, and then we'll get back to the Game of the Year list, and yeah. But yeah, so the Smash... So originally I had planned to give my predictions for what the roster would be. Or for the DLC. Because I've talked about the DLC in the past. I've given what my predictions are since, I want to say November. Maybe even earlier than that. Like, one of these predictions that may seem to be coming true. It's complicated. I've made some safe predictions here. But yeah, well, I'll give my predictions, and then I'll get what the leak says and what everything does. So, for my predictions, okay, so we already know Piranha Plant and Joker, so let's just kind of toss them to the side. Right, we know those, but we still got 4 more characters. So, the first one I had is some sort of Microsoft representation. Oh, you know what would be great to see on Switch if some sort of Microsoft representation is coming? I'd love to see the Rare Replay collection. I'd like to hope Nintendo could put aside their differences for just long enough to get the Rare Replay collection, get the Donkey Kong Country games on there. That'd be amazing. I'd pay a full $60 for that, even though the game's years old, and I think I have it on Xbox. I'd still pay money for that. That sounds great with the Donkey Kong Country games. But I think we're going to get some sort of Microsoft representation. 3 ways they could go with this. Banjo-Kazooie. This is the one I want the most. This is the one that I think is great. It's what the fans want. I think it's a great, safe prediction. Steve from Minecraft, again. Minecraft is the most popular game of all time. Again, Fortnite may be huge right now, but its numbers still pale in comparison to Minecraft. But also, I completely lost where they went. But yeah, I get why it'd be there. I said around E3 time that I think Steve makes perfect sense because, I mean, Smash Bros. Is a family game, and kids, right? Minecraft is big with kids. I think it makes perfect sense why he's going to be. Or the other one, which I will admit, this kind of came inspired from the Jay Witz video, Master Chief. Master Chief is just an iconic gaming character. He is the most iconic character. Okay, yeah, I'll argue he is the most iconic character Microsoft owns because Steve just isn't a character. The player, there's a reason why you can change skins in Minecraft. And I know that's half of the reason why people don't want Steve is because he is nothing, but I get it. But some sort of Microsoft representation. I'm guessing a Dark Souls representation? I mean, I know the Shovel Knight amiibo didn't actually mean anything besides getting him an assist trophy. I think a Solaire of a Star or just a Dark Souls protagonist would be pretty cool. I mean, Dark Souls is on the Switch. Didn't buy it. Will not be on the Game of the Year list, even though I did mean to. We have Dead Cells, close enough for me. I mean, it is actually really close. But I think a Dark Souls representation would be pretty great. I'd be totally down for that. I'm still convinced there's going to be indie representation. Just some sort of indie representation. My hope with Shovel Knight, because Shovel Knight is the face of the indie game right now. The face of the second generation of indie games, right? The Kickstarter era. But he made it in as an assist trophy, which was cool. Right? It's not what I wanted, but hey, it's cool. Shantae's in the game as a spirit, which is also great. Right? But if we need an indie game representation, there's 2 things I'm thinking of. first one is Quo. Quo is from Cave Story. You know, the game made by Pixel, the game that basically was the face of indie games until the Kickstarter revolution and Shovel Knight. The previous face of indie games, a Japanese-made character from Japan. I know a lot of people are overlooking him. I don't even know if anyone's thinking of him. But if you're getting indie representation, Shovel Knight's young. I mean, it could be a flash in the pants. It won't. I hope so. But I think Quo has lasted time. He's Pixel's character. I think that one could be worked out. I think he could totally... If we need indie representation, that would be great. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd be down for that. That's the one. That's probably... Well, Banjo is admittedly the one I want the most, which is weird. Oh, also, if you can get Microsoft to work together to get a character in Smash, get them to get their games on the N64 Classic as well. You couldn't... that's probably the biggest problem with an N64 Classic, is that you need rare games, because that's such a part of the era, and just to not have them would be a major flaw. Right, you need the rare games. So hopefully that'll work out. Ooh. Then, but the other indie game character, Sans. Sans from Undertale. I hate it. I think Steve is a perfect fit, even if a lot of people disagree. I'll join in the hate for Sans. I love Undertale. Again, it was my game of the year in 2016. But I cannot. No, he doesn't deserve his place in Smash. Not yet, anyways. I know Sakurai liked Undertale. He did a whole thing about it. But no. And you know Toby Fox would be down for whatever. You know he would be. It'd be easy to get the rights for it. But no. I have no interest. But it's in this weird post-Joker world, Sans could not be discounted. In a pre-Joker world, definitely. I would have totally thrown it out the window instantly. But no. In my last prediction, you know, I said I wanted Banjo the most. That's actually a lie. The one, I think I've been talking about this since like September or August. Yeah, probably since Simon Belmont got announced. The character I want the most, Doom Guy. I know he's R-rated and Smash Bros is probably PG, maybe PG-13. I think Doom Guy, would be great. He's the PC gaming representation. We know Nintendo and Bethesda are good with each other right now. I think Doom Guy would be just a perfect fit because he represents. Because Sony. Because if we get Microsoft representation, we get PC representation. All we need is Kratos from God of War. Never gonna happen. But hey, I just think it's a great fit. That's my biggest hope. That is my biggest hope, and we'll get to that. And then last, just because I figure. There have been the leak for a while now that Bravely Default was gonna be a character. Not Bravely Default. I mean, I'm jumping the gun there. That Dragon Quest is gonna have a character. It's probably gonna happen, sadly, which means one of my picks is out. All my picks may be out, but it is. And I love the only Dragon Quest game I ever played was 9. But I enjoyed the shit out of 9. 9 was so good. It's my personal. That's very... As someone who had to admit in 2017 that they don't like RPGs, kind of 2018. No, very end of 2017, actually. Dragon Quest 9 is one of, like, 5 exceptions. And I'm taking Pokemon all as one thing. But yeah. So who is actually going to be... So there was a leak... So it started off with data mining. They data mined Smash Bros. And found 3 pieces of code. One for Piranha Plant, I think just named Plant. One for Jack, who is presumed to be Joker, or isn't there like a Jack Frost character in Persona? I don't know, I've never played any of the games. And the last one is Brave. Now, I guess the default character name of the character in Dragon Quest even though it's supposed to be hero, when translated, it actually translates to brave. So that's where people are thinking this is from. Which, yeah, that makes sense. And I think, I have no problem with a Dragon Quest character. I actually, Matthew Toronto, the guy who does Brawl in the Family, great stuff, Brawl in the Family, actually did a move prediction list for Slime from Dragon Quest. And I'd actually much rather have his Slime moveset than I would just, like, the generic protagonist of Dragon Quest. His Slime moveset, it was a great idea. I loved it. I wish that would happen. Probably not, but it looks like we're getting, because of this, people believe it's going to be a Dragon Quest. It's like a reference to, I want to say, the third game? But, it's a reference to the third game, but it's like a skin that uses skins from, like, the... Oh, God. It uses a skin from the, like, newest game, because it's believed that Nintendo is personally handling is personally, like, publishing the Switch port of Dragon Quest 9. Or Dragon Quest 11, I mean. Which makes sense. I mean, we know it's coming eventually, even though complications. I don't know. I'm fine. Yeah, sure. Makes a lot of sense for a Dragon Quest character. It's my one, not problem with it, but my one hesitation is always the fact that Final Fantasy, when making Ultimate, Final Fantasy only has 2 music tracks, and Cloud was the last character added to Ultimate, and they didn't even know if they were going to get Cloud back into the game. So I can see, so I am kind of hesitant, but I think it's going to happen at this point. But then there's the actual leak. So there was a leak that predicted all of this. And on top of that, there was some weird prediction with like a fighting game, that they're making a Persona fighting game, but it's going to be delayed because of a Blue Cross fighting game or something like that. And all of what this leak said is actually happened. So that's what gives this leak credit. And the leaks thing for the characters are, well, Joker, it predicted Joker, and it's predicting Dragon Quest. The other characters are Ryu Hayabusa? I think that's it. I don't actually have it pulled up, but I think I remember it. Is Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden, which, you know, you've got Simon Belmont, you've got, you've got Simon Belmont, you've got all these NES characters. Makes perfect sense. I can totally buy that. So yeah, I think, yeah, no, that's totally possible. For Microsoft representation, it says Steve, okay. Now, I get why people are hesitant about Steve. But as part of it, what it's saying is that it'll be Steve, but he'll have, like, because in mind, right, it'll be Steve with an Alex custom, but one of its customs is going to be Master Chief. Another custom could be Banjo-Kazooie. One custom could be Banjo, the other could be Kazooie. Think of, for Master Chief, think of Jeff's skin from Achievement Hunter, and for Banjo and Kazooie, think of Lindsay and Michael's skin. I think that makes perfect sense. I know some people will just be inherently pissed because they got the stupid Minecraft guy instead of the actual Master Chief and the actual Banjo and Kazooie. But I get where it's coming from. I'm totally on board with that. You know, it's weird. Like, I shouldn't be, but I guess I am. I guess I'm on board with the idea of, right, even though it's a skin and it's not the full thing, I'm on board with it. It sounds crazy, but it's true. It's personally, like, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. And then, with a new... Oh, they may also be working on, like, they're working on a Ninja Gaiden project for 2013. I could see them doing, like, a Mega Man Legacy collection, but for a Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, sure. That's cool. That'd be cool. It could be a new game, even though I don't remember the last few Ninja Gaiden games being any good. So we've got Joker, Eldrick, Ryu Hayabusa, and Steve. Steve was planned for the main roster, but will promote Minecraft Dungeons. I feel it. Wait, okay, so Steve, so Joker, Ryu, Steve. I feel like this is missing. Oh, Eldritch. Yeah, okay. And then the last one is the one I've been predicting, the Doom Marine. I think it just makes sense. I like the Doom guy. I love Doom 2016. Right? I think it's a great fit. I'm totally on board with the Doom Marine. I'm going to say it. I've been saying it, I want to say since September. I think this is, besides, the only one I'm kind of iffy on is Ryu Hayabusa. Just on, like, I don't know, there's maybe someone I'd be more, like Crash Bandicoot. But yeah, no, I'm totally on board with this. It's funny, my original predictions were, like, way safer, based around, like we're getting a new Yoshi game, so Poochie, Rex, and Pyra. I still want them. I do. I really do. Or, some character from, like, Metroid Prime. I don't know. I don't remember its name. Some robot. And Banjo-Kazooie. My predictions were safe, but, you know, if this was the final list, I'd be fine with this. This is fine. I am going to go get a glass of water because I was drinking an entire case of lemonade, and my entire case of lemonade has run out, and I need water. And when I get back, we'll continue on with the Game of the Year list. We'll do numbers 4 through 2. I mean 5 through 2. When did I turn that off? I turned that back on when I came back, right? Fuck me. Fuck me. Did I turn that off and it's just been going silent for the last, like, 10 minutes? I legitimately don't know. Shit, I don't know. How long have I been silent? Oh my god. Please tell me I just, like, accidentally bumped the mic and hit that. I didn't. I've been going silent since I got back with water, haven't I? Fuck. I went on this big tirade about Ultimate Chicken Horse and how I loved it so much. And how Ultimate Chicken Horse is number 4, Hollow Knight is number 3, number 5 was Stardew Valley. All great games, all I love them. And I bet none of it's recorded. Fuck me. Fuck me, man. Oh, I know I hit it when I got back. So, oh, fuck. Of course that had to happen. Shit. I don't want to retell the entire stories. Stardew Valley's number 3. Really enjoyed it. God damn it. Fuck, man. Stardew Valley, I loved it. Not really my style, but I really enjoyed it. Ultimate Chicken Horse, been waiting for it to come out on Switch. Finally did. Enjoyed the shit out of it. Love party games. Don't really have many friends. Ironic, isn't it? Games I've been playing. Dead Cells, 2 games that haven't come up yet. Binding of Isaac card game, great. Highly recommend it. God damn it. I'm gonna look back on this later and be super fucking annoyed. There goes my night, honestly. Oh, God. I know I turned it on when I got back. Maybe... There's no way I hit it by accident, though. It must have been off that entire time. There's no way around it. Fuck. I just lost all inspiration. Pick up those 3 games I just listed, though. Hollow Knight's great. Number 2. I don't want to go on, honestly. That just killed it for me, but I'm going to do it. God, because I know I lost it all. This is the first stream I haven't dropped frames in forever. But I must have turned it on. I must have. God. Okay. Number 2. Now, my number 2 thing is divisive, because so I do a show called The Double-Edged Sword, and in that show, it's a show where I review video games. Usually I get around 6 episodes a season, because they take me forever to do, and it's because it takes me forever to play games, and I don't really buy that many games. This year I didn't really buy that many games. But when I reviewed the number 1, I reviewed both the number 1 and number 2 games. And I was like, yeah, this is the game that I gave number 1 a great score. But I gave number 2 an even better score, and yet somehow they're switched? But that's just how it is sometimes, you know. It's a game that only just came out recently, but I've put a bunch of time into it, and I love it so much. But yeah, there's just something about number 1. But number 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I love Smash Bros. I really do. I put a lot of time into it. Well, I actually played competitive for Wii U. Right? I love Smash Bros. And there's a lot of great things about this. This new game's great. I mean, we've talked about it on every Splatin' chat since, its reveal? Which I think Smash Bros. Reveal was the very first Splatin' chat. Maybe. So yeah, I have loved Smash. But yeah, there's just something about it that even though I think it's probably the closest game we've gotten to perfection, I couldn't put it at number 1. My number 1 was just too good. But what else can I say? It's got great characters, it's got great music, Just everything about it I love so much. And yes, it's one of the 2 games I have been playing just all this month. I have been playing Smash Bros. I've been learning Ridley. Or I've been trying to. I think Ridley might be my... I think for now, Ridley's my main. He's just the one I have been enjoying the most, you know? You haven't even played Pichu. You know I'm right. Yeah, no, I'm playing Ridley. I liked Inkling. I mean, if you saw the original stream, I had Inkling and I liked her. But I don't know. Since then, I don't think she's strong enough. I usually like medium tier characters, like power wise. And Inkling is very light tier from how I see it. So she's just not my style of character. I want to like her, but I just can't. There was a great video that showed my problem with Inkling, where it was like the guy starts charging his left smash, and then he walks away, goes to the DMV, gets a bowl of cereal, does all these things, and then when he comes back, it hits and it doesn't even knock them off the stage. That's my problem with Inkling right there. You know, Incineroar is not my style. I mean Robin in 4, and yet Incineroar is just too slow for me. I've played Robin once, and Robin was my main. I don't know. I'm not going back to competitive. I'd like to do competitive again, but I just cannot bring the motivation to do it. I can't. But yeah, Smash Bros. Is still great. It's still the closest perfection. I use the joke that Smash Ultimate is what it'd be like if Kirby made a video game, and I use Kirby because I've made jokes before that like Kirby is like a god analogy or something like that, because Kirby has infinite powers, so that's the joke with Smash. But yeah, I'm playing it. I'll continue to play it. It's just great, and I hope those DLC leaks are true, because that's more than everything else. Doom guy, I was right. So, real quick, because I was talking about it earlier, Binding of Isaac card game. Give us some thoughts. It's good. Yeah, that's the thing. It's surprisingly not complicated. I enjoy it. I highly recommend it. And then, what else do I have to say? If I had an honorable... we'll get to what I want to do here in a minute once we finish this match. If I had an honorable mention... I don't have any honorable mentions. But if I had I don't like doing, like, worst of the... Well, okay, I do actually enjoy doing... A worst list can be fun, but I don't want to focus on the worst, just the positive. But if I had to say, like, this is the worst game... Well, I want to say Metal Gear. Again, this year I played very conservatively with, like, what games I bought. So I didn't actually buy any bad games. Well, I mean, I didn't love Mega Man 11. It probably, out of everything I played, it would probably be Mega Man 11. But that's just kind of like, it's the one I played the least. You know what I'm saying? It's the one I put the least time into. It's the one it's just like, not that I put the least time into it. It's just, it's worst by default. Because everything I played this year was great. I enjoyed tons of stuff this year. I don't think I bought anything that was bad. Like last year, even though I think Tumbleseed is a fine game, it was just way too fucking hard. And I didn't buy anything that I hated this year. Which is not true of previous years. Like, I played this very safe. But yeah. Yeah, that's... But, so, I guess technically, but if I had to actually choose a worse game... do I want to change up my weapon? I feel like I do, but I just go back to my normal. Because I don't really care. I like the idea of the Octobrush. It was my main weapon. Well, it was my secondary weapon of choice. But I'm just not that good in it. I like the gold dynamo better than the normal, but it's just... I mean, that's not actually that bad. Let's use the Kansai dynamo for a little bit. But if I had to pick a worst game, maybe Fallout 76. Just everything I've seen on it. That's something I wanted to enjoy. I'd say it's most disappointing, and that is true. But what other game was disappointing that I wanted to like? Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves had so much potential. I thought it was a great idea, but it had microtransactions, which it's a first-party game. First-party games shouldn't have microtransactions. I wanted to enjoy it. It just let me down. Also, honorable mentions, Spider-Man. Wanted to play it so bad. Almost bought a Spider-Man PS4. But once I had the money, I almost caved and bought one at like Walmart, but they were out of stock. Like once I did, I'll get a PS4 one day. Or if the PS5 has backwards compatibility, I'll get a PS5. But yeah. So, Spider-Man's an honorable mention. Red Dead is probably all... I don't know if I thought I would love Red Dead, but after, like, reading some reviews and whatnot, I don't know if I actually would have. There's some things that, like, the sacrifice for realism is just not my style. So, I don't know if I would have liked, Red Dead. God of War, I know I would have loved. I just didn't. Again, don't own a PS4. And then Odyssey is probably a great game, but the fact that it has microtransactions will forever sell. Well, and you know what type of there's a difference between like a microtransaction for like a skin and like having your own virtual currency or having the ability to like buy XP boosters. Like, that's a problem. And if you're making a freemium game, I don't mind as much, because that's the payoff. Right? Like, Fortnite and Warhammer. Is it Warhammer? I don't really mind, because, again, that's the payoff. But in a game you pay $60 for, where you can pay extra money to not grind, that is an inherent flaw of the game. So what I actually want to do is, instead of even though I just listed off a bunch of honorable mentions, so in 2018 I started keeping a list of YouTubers that I learned existed this year, and they've made good, enjoyable content. So I kind of want to give them a shout out and give you some recommendations if you're into that stuff, if you're into some enjoyable content. Some of these guys blew up this year. There's two in particular where when I found them, they had less than 100,000, and now they're upwards of 1 million, which great for them. They deserve it, right? They made great content. I got a bunch that I've collected throughout the years. I'll admit, some of these I only watched for like a month, and then I haven't seen one of their videos since. But yeah, I do have a few. So to start off, the one that probably the most... If I had to pick an MVP of the year, it goes to him. Actually, let's save him for the end. Just because he is my MVP, he was probably the one I liked the most, the one I watched the most this year. Let's start off with Kinda Funny. So Kinda Funny, I think I started watching. They're some of these are smaller tier YouTubers. Some of these are big tier ones, like Kinda Funny. But I started watching Kinda Funny after was it Let's Play Spring Break? They did this whole Let's Play Spring Break thing with all the guys from Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, which if I had to, okay, well, I have an MVP and this one doesn't count because I've been watching them for years. The YouTuber I watched the most this year was Achievement Hunter. Let's Play, still, Rooster Teeth is still my favorite company. They're proof that YouTube can do great things. Favorite videos from there, the Vespucci Job, I loved Hardcore Tabletop, and Lindsay Wins. Lindsay Wins is one of the best videos they have ever made. But off track, I'm getting sidetracked. Also, Achievement Hunter's pretty good. I heard Genlock is great. I'm excited. But, so Kinda Funny, right? I saw them at the Spring Break. They're doing this whole MCU in review thing where they watched every Marvel movie and then reviewed them, like went through the plot and whatnot. some of those videos I have problems with, but other ones are really good. And watching all of the MCU and review stuff was great this year, leading up to Infinity War, and then them doing X-Men, which, yeah, that was a blast from the past, and doing Spider-Man. I'd love to see them do DC or the Fantastic Four movies. I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, no, Kind of Funny, I gotta love enjoyment. I think I've talked about Kind of Funny's games cast before, where I like some of them, but sometimes I feel like they're shilling out to the corporations, right? You know, they like, sometimes I agree, but sometimes, I don't know, that some of that's personal, it's complicated, to say the least. It really is. Mosh. Okay, Mosh. Again, some of these I've been watching for a while now, so I don't remember who Mosh is. Mosh, okay, if I remember correctly, Mosh does, like, they did a few videos on, like, movies and whatnot. Like, they explained how long it would take to how long Groundhog's Day went on for. And yeah, that was actually a great video. Like, they did a few ones, like, they did one on Back to the Future. It was like a new channel, they haven't really done much. But yeah, no, if that's who I'm thinking of. They did some good stuff. You know, because a lot of these YouTubers, I know we shit on, like, YouTube's recommendations and what they do on, like, your homepage. But a lot of these guys I've just found through YouTube's homepage. I know we give them shit, a lot of which they deserve, but YouTube can do good stuff. They can occasionally recommend a good channel. I hate it, though, when you're trying to, like, binge one channel and they only will recommend videos from a different channel. That's super annoying. That is super annoying. Scott the Woz. I think, did Scott the Woz hit 1 million this year? He may have. I only found him earlier this year. My favorite moment from him. And it has nothing to do with him. But as you know, JonTron takes forever on hiatus, even though he seems to be back. It's not going to last long. But the Scott the Woz the JonTron subreddit was forsaken by him, so they decided to make Scott the Woz their new patron saint. And it was so funny. And then JonTron came back, and he was like, "Who's this Scott the Woz guy?" Right? But he's done a bunch of great stuff. His content was just really enjoyable this year. He did 100 episodes of his show. That was great. That was just earlier. That was like last month. Great stuff. Highly recommended them. All of these guys even ones I haven't watched in months, if I wrote them down, there must have been something good about them, you know? That's like how I like to think this works. Next up is Lucas Hepsenhide. Lucas Hepsenhide, if I remember correctly, he's the animator. So, as you know, I've been on a big Adventure Zone kick this year, which I can't put Adventure Zone on this list because it's a podcast. Adventure Zone is my biggest recommendation. It's just amazing storytelling, amazing characters. Everything about the Adventure Zone is amazing. I've heard of the McElroy brothers before, but I've never really, like, watched My Brother and Me. But I was really able to get into the Adventure Zone this year. I was finally able to do that, and it's great. It's everything you want it to be. But let's see, Lucas Hepsenhide, Hespenheide, Lucas Lucas. Right, he's done 3 videos. One is like a blend of stop motion, or as a blend of animation in real life, and 2 are animations for the Adventure Zone. Animatics, he calls them, but they're basically animation. They're amazing. They're what got me into the Adventure Zone. They're the reason he's on this list. They're also just great animation. I love it. So great. I want to double check Mosh real quick. Make sure I had the right channel. I think I did. Programming with Mosh. Movies. How True is the Unbroken Movie. 4.1 subscribers. Edge of Tomorrow, How Many Loops. Raft Jump and Indiana Jones. Yep, that's the channel. Small, 4.1 subscribers, but great little channel. Really great stuff. Josh Hanno. Josh Hanno also, I know his animations and his animatics. I found him around the same time. I had actually seen Lucas Hepsenhide early in the year, but I didn't really think much about him at the time. And then I found him again while watching Josh Hanno stuff. Josh Hanno does the Nefarious comics, which is like a game and comic. It's basically like, it's the idea of like, what if the villain won? Great stuff. And yeah, he's done some animatics and whatnot. They're all pretty good. But I read the Nefarious comic. The game's on Switch if you're interested. I considered buying it, but just other stuff got in the way. I hear it's okay. But yeah, I liked his animation stuff this year, and his comics pretty good. So yeah, no, he got on the list. But he's the right. Well, because he did an animatic for a song for Nefarious that Lucas Hepsenhide also did for his thing, and that's how I because I'd heard it earlier in the year, but then I heard it again. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's some cool stuff. Binging with Babish. Binging with Babish is huge. I think he also break 1 million this year. My brother had watched him for a while now, but then while I was like Stardew Valley part probably got cut out. But there was a lot of stuff with like where I kind of was on like this weird vacation thing, and while on that, I watched like a bunch of YouTubers, and that's how Josh got into it, and Lucas and whatnot. But Binging with Babish was also one of them, and my brother had been watching him, but I finally watched him, and yeah, no, he's pretty good. I've fallen out on him recently. I don't know why. Ever since he started live streaming, I don't know why. I didn't want to, but I kind of just have. But yeah, no, he's great. I totally get. I think he only broke 1 million this year, and I get why. It's great cooking stuff. It's very accessible. Right? I love his breadstick recipe. In the Breaking Bad episode, he gives a breadstick recipe. Perfect. I've made that tons of every time I do Italian. Great. It is great. Chris Ramsey. Okay, I don't know who this guy is. If I had to take a guess, he solves puzzle boxes? I'll look here in a second. But I think he's the puzzle box guy. I much like while I was on that vacation, I was just finding random stuff. And one night while I spent up like watching and kind of also playing Stardew Valley, just watching him solve puzzle boxes, and it was really relaxing. I just really enjoyed it. And even though I haven't watched him probably since then, I still really enjoy it. So, great stuff. Really enjoyable for the time I did it. I think that's it, though. Chris Ramsey. Yep, he's the puzzle box guy. Puzzle box, magician, yeah, very simple. Next up, Friends Without Benefits. It's kind of a weird channel name, but they're one of those like small groups of people get together and play video games, like best friends. Stumped is the closest example I can think of. They don't have like the budget of an achievement hunter or like one of those. You know who else I have to put on here? You know, I'll put him. I'll stop that in a second. Ooh, give me a second. Had to blow my nose, and I'm not forgetting to turn on the mic this time, because fuck me. Yeah, so Friends Without Benefits, I don't remember how I found them, but they did a series this year, Skyrim Ultimate Mod or something like that, where they played just 2 of them, but they played Skyrim with like 100 mods on or something crazy like that, and I want to say it was like episode 4 or something. At one point they're fighting a giant. There's like a giant My Little Pony, and they find like an X-wing or something like that. I want to say it's like episode 4. It's sometime within the first like 10 episodes, and it just had me on the floor crying. They have a spell that just freezes time, and it's so funny. It was, I admittedly, again, that was like all I watched from this year, and I didn't even finish the Skyrim series. But that one video alone just had me laughing so hard. It gave them a place on this list. Really enjoyable. Great. I want to see how many times can I say really enjoyable in the next like 20 minutes, or I've said so far. Next up, you know, I didn't write this one down, but I should anyway. I should have. So this year I don't remember when I found raccoon eggs. That could have been this year, that could have been last year, but I know I found Fits and Swagger this year. Fits and Swagger Souls. There's this trend that another one, Soviet Wumble, who I know I found last year. He was on, but where it's like playing like CS:GO or Fortnite or PUBG, and like it's like Twitch streaming it and then making highlight compilations on YouTube where like all the text is like written out, where it's all subtitles. And those three, Raccoon Eggs, Fits and Swagger Souls, and Soviet Wumble are just great. I know it's probably not for everyone. I'll fully admit that there are some of these that aren't for everyone, and I totally get that. There's probably one or two that, because of their popularity, are going to be controversial choices. But yeah, no, they're just, I really enjoyed Fits and Swagger this year. I really got into them. I've seen them just really funny. And I love that. Like, I know the one I watched over and over was the Best of 2017 compilation. I know they're going to do another one. I wish Soviet Wumble uploaded more. They take a while to upload videos usually, but they're great. Cyanide plays games. I think he's just a Twitch streamer. I don't know if he has a YouTube. He's also another one. But yeah, no. I don't even like CSGO. I'm fine with PUBG and whatnot. But they're just really enjoyable. Really enjoyable. But again, I feel like they're the ones that are like a more acquired taste. Because if you don't like stuff like them, you're not going to enjoy them. Next up, Zephyrus. So Zephyrus does an explained series where he like goes into it. He like looks at like mysteries and whatnot and explains them. He's done. What's one of his? He did ones on like hoaxes. There's the Dreadnought hoax, the whatever hoax. He did one about the Big Piece, which is the Titanic. Again, he's a slow uploader, but his stuff is just so entertaining. He's got a great voice as well. Just, I watched all of his content, and then at some point later in the year, I rewatched a bunch of it. But yeah, no, it's really good. It's more like the intellectual stuff, just explaining like stories and whatnot. It kind of for a while sent me on like a binge of like these like explained videos and like kind of conspiracy theory stuff, but I pushed away from it because it started getting weird. But he's very safe. I'd argue he's pretty safe in it. Like, he doesn't go like into the conspiracy theory or whatnot. I recommend him. I don't think he's uploaded in like 6 months since the Dreadnought hoax. But what he's done is good. Let's just keep going. Patrick H. Williams. So he's a movie guy. He doesn't do like movie reviews or anything, but he does film essays, right? Like, video essays, like, why a movie is, right? Like, explaining the good parts. The one that got me into him was Patrick Explained. I don't know if this was cut earlier on the audio, because I have no idea what I lost. I'm so brokenhearted. I watched all the Mission Impossible movies because of him. He has 2 videos on Mission Impossible right before 6 came out. And they're just, they really make you want to. He does a great job at explaining these movies and why they're great. Some of them I've already seen, like Paddington and whatnot. Fast and the Furious, which, yeah, no. Fast and the Furious, I know it's dick flick and whatnot, but yeah, no, they're kind of enjoyable because of how stupid they are. He did a great one on Michael Bay. Oh my god, it made me. I've always known that there was like more to Michael Bay than like what it first appears, but like he puts it into words. He's got Blue Flame Special explaining how to make an action scene, which is great. He's a lot of like writing advice because he's like a filmmaker. There's one great one about like doing the perfect getting the team together montage, which is fun. but it's got like some, it goes on a little too long. But yeah, no, he's done some great stuff. I've been binging, I've been watching him for a while now, but I binged him again just recently. So yeah. Next up is Delzathan. Delzathan is a Smash YouTuber. Again, he doesn't upload very much. I think I found him through right before E3 maybe, in one of Game Explain's discussions with Rogers Base, where they were talking about predictions, and Rogers Base is like, oh yeah, there's some guy who did a great prediction video, can't remember his name, and then in the comments they're like, oh, the guy you're thinking of is Delzathan. So I watched his video, and he had some great Smash Bros. Prediction videos. He also did one about once Echo Fighters were revealed, about what he thinks Echo Fighters might be. Very simple stuff. I don't think he uploads much. He does like character speculation and competitive moveset and whatnot. But yeah. It's good stuff. Good stuff. For what little I saw of it, a lot of ideas I really enjoyed. So again, some of his stuff I totally wish had happened. He also did, I also liked his idea for, I don't think they should make a new Smash game anytime soon, just because you can't top Ultimate, especially with the way Smash is right now. And I liked his idea of the safe roster. I know it's way too early to think about this, and hopefully Sakurai will have moved on to bigger and other things by that point. But if they ever do, I like his idea of like, you make a smaller roster, refocus on different things. Great stuff. Great little Smash Bros. Stuff. Shively Humperdinck. Now, I've been seeing these videos on like weird places on the internet for like a while now. Maybe on Reddit even. But actually, there's a difference between like just seeing like random videos and actually like going and watching their channels and watching their stuff, or at least that's how I consider it. So I finally like watched his stuff. He's done some stuff for Adult Swim as well. And it's weird, and also it's weird and crazy, but can also be motivational and inspiring. He's like, I can't even explain it. I don't want to show it to you just because complications. But he does a Chivalry's Dreamcasm series, really short, like 1-minute videos. You can knock it out. He made a video that just has all of them in a row. You can knock it out in like an hour. But I highly recommend it. It's crazy and weird and scary. Well, not like horror scary, but like, this is insane scary. It's some great stuff. I just enjoyed it so much. It can be deep, it can be thoughtful, but it can also be stupid as hell. I mean, at one point, some kid gets like gets like ultimate power, and he uses it to kill everyone named Terrence. But then one Terrence is able to live because he's Terrence with a Y. And then he starts an uprising, and they break out of hell using some kid who was trying to summon their dead mother, but instead got a sandwich. And then they kill, I want to say the kid's name was Sean, but then Chivalry's like, no, and he fuses them into Sharons or something like that. It's crazy. It is insane, and I love it. I love it so much. It's the weirdest pick of the year, but it's probably the one I recommend the most, honestly. Again, you can watch it all in an hour. So this next two, okay. So the next one of these I don't count because, like, seeing someone on YouTube is different than, like, seeing them on, like, Reddit or something like that. At least that's how I'm looking at it. But one of these guys I actually heard of last year, and I watched their stuff last year, but then I kind of relearned about them. No, I technically did because of the Odyssey stuff. Was the Odyssey stuff this year or last year? So they are, the one who's actually on the list is CF Gaming. What he's been doing is he's been going through like Mario games, like New Super Mario Bros. U, and being like, can you beat New Super Mario Bros. U without pressing right? Can you beat New Super Mario Bros. U without pressing left? Can you beat it without jumping while always crouching, right? And I got on a kick. He's one of those guys like Chris Ramsey, where I'd get on a kick, but then you think I would have just forgotten about him, but I didn't. I just kept watching his stuff. He's got an accent, which, yeah, he does. He's able to make jokes about it. But I think it's really enjoyable stuff. And then Game Champ 3000, not Game Champ and Birdie. he also does same thing. He does a show called VG Miss, where he plays video games and like he plays Splatoon, and can you beat Splatoon without firing your weapon, only using like burst bombs and whatnot? Can you beat Can you beat Mario Odyssey without jumping? The only one of his videos I didn't really care for was can you beat Mega Man without getting hit? I mean, like, duh, but it's the only one video I don't love of his. I mean, it's fine. But he doesn't make it on the list because last year he did his, like, can you beat Breath of the Wild without climbing video. So I don't count it. But other than that, he's done, but he should be on the list, but because of that, I can't. But CF Gaming is getting the credit. Just great. It's really enjoyable, really relaxing. I know some people annoy my accents, but I think he did a great... I think he's really enjoyable. And I like his challenges and whatnot. Yeah, just great. It's a lot of Mario stuff. I was also, while I was doing my Year of Zelda this year, I was kind of wondering, like, oh, can I beat a bunch of... It made me want to get in... Watching their stuff made me want to get into Mario again. So I had a Zelda list where I had, like, marked every Zelda game I'd beaten. But I also made a Mario list, and I beat, like, 5 Mario games this year. Some of them classics, like the SNES, like Super Mario World. All 4 of the newer ones. Except for Wii, because I don't own Wii anymore. But yeah. I own Wii U, which, hey, that comes out, like, next week. No interest in it. No interest in it. Because I own it on Wii U. So we got 4 more. Daily Dose of Internet, I only watched a little bit of. Very end of the year. He's got, like, 3.4 million subscribers. He just, like, collects some of the cool stuff from that's been on the internet for the past few weeks. Just really relaxing. Really just relaxing stuff. I enjoyed it. And then, one more, I gotta find his name. It's, PM Seymour? Who, he just, like, reads, like, Tumblr stuff. He's, like, a voice actor who reads, like, Tumblr stuff and whatnot. His voice acting isn't always great, I'll admit. But he's done some good stuff. I like his Humans Are Space Orcs videos. Those are pretty good. Also with Shiverly Humperdinck, I might as well. It's spelled Shively space Humperdink. Check him out. The last 3 are the big 3. These were the ones that, like I said. Well, okay, the big one, the most influential one, that we'll get to last. The other 2, though, are, like I said, they started off with just, like... They started off with less than 100,000 when I started watching them, and now they're upwards of 1 million. First one is Tierzoo. Tierzoo is just, like, it takes, like, how we talk about competitive fighting games and applies it to real-life animals, like, right? And, like, it creates tier lists for, like, oh, how should animals be ranked, right? It's surprisingly enjoyable. Like, the guy must be a biologist or something. What is it? Is it zoologist, the study of animals? But it's just really good stuff. He ranks animals, talks about the good and the bad ones. Really enjoyable. Really enjoyable, really enjoyable, really enjoyable, really enjoyable. Gotta get that counter up. Yeah, and again, it's all based around fighting games, which I do luckily know some of the lingo from my very limited time in competitive. Next up, this one's, well, I think everything on this list will more or less be received positive. If I had to assume there's one that will get, like, about, it's RT Games. RT Games, he does some Twitch streams, and then he makes highlight videos. Now, some people take forever to make highlight videos. He has a really quick turnaround. He's an Irish guy, which I know is going to get him compared to Jacksepticeye. I was never able to get into Jacksepticeye. I was kind of able to get, but that's kind of what he reminds me of, like a Jacksepticeye or a Markiplier or one of those. I was never really able to get into Jacksepticeye. For a while I was into Markiplier, but he eventually lost me. But he reminds me of like I'm gonna use the Jacksepticeye thing, because they're both Irish. But he was like not pandering entirely to children, which Jacksepticeye may not even be doing. But that's the feeling I get when I think of when I think of him. Even though I mean, my favorite video of Markiplier is actually pretty mature. But I don't know. He's just Twitch highlight. City Skylines was great. The Sims was great. I've watched some of his streams. Wii Music. Oh my god, he nailed Wii Music. But yeah, no, again, he's probably not the one I watch the most per se, but I put a lot of time into him. He uploads almost daily. I recommend him. I know, I totally get why some people won't like him, and they'll just see him as another Jacksepticeye or Markiplier. And I don't blame you. And if you don't like YouTubers like that, I totally don't blame you. But there's something on RT that just made him feel different. He also, you know, I always, like, as I get older, I find there are YouTubers who I liked when I was younger. But now that I've grown up, I don't like them anymore. There are tons of them. Very few YouTubers are timeless. Like, I was watching a YouTuber in, like, 2012, and now I watch them again. And I wasn't even that young in 2012. It's just as time goes on, tastes change and all that. Very few YouTubers who I liked back then that I still like now. The Yogscast is surprisingly one of them. Like, the Yogscast is definitely one of those channels I figured I would just grow out of because they were kiddie stuff. But no, I still enjoy the Yogscast the same now as I did when, like, I first started watching them back when they did Minecraft Survival Island. And I know some YouTubers have trouble transitioning away from Minecraft. We see it all the time. But they've been able to move over to, like, Gmod and Grand Theft Auto pretty well. They're basically in the same boat as, like, Achievement Hunter. But it was cool to see Yogscast and RT Games cross over this year. Two YouTubers I really enjoy. Cool to see them both mingle. Yeah. And there's the only YouTubers who still do Minecraft that I still enjoy are Achievement Hunter, Let's Play, and Exuma Void. Any other YouTuber who did Minecraft back in the day, I cannot stand anymore. I don't even ones that I like Chimney Swift. Chimney Swift's a great example. I liked Chimney Swift back in the day, but then I eventually grew out of him. But then I was like, oh yeah, I was kind of nostalgic for the Minecraft Files Season 3, so I was like, oh, I'll watch it again. I couldn't. I watched like 10 episodes, but it was too much. I grew out of him. What can I say? And again, it's not like I was going from like 12 to like 18 or whatever. I was going from like 18 to 20, right? It was not that big of a difference, and I was already mature by that. Well, mature-ish. That's just what time does to you. And that's Venny, Joel, all of the Vinesauce crew. I've enjoyed the shit out of them. KY came back this year. But I've watched Venny's stuff. Like, I still watch it. I still enjoy Venny's stuff. But I just could not get in. I just did not watch Venny that much this year. I don't think I'm growing out of him, because I still enjoy what he does. But yeah, no, I've put more time into, like, Achievement Hunter was the most watched this year. Watch them almost every day. I got really big into their podcast last year. Been watching them since, well, my first video was actually Ryan's first video that he made for them. The Mario, what's it called? The Mario Portal. Yep. Still watch them. Enjoy the shit out of them. Loved a lot of stuff they do. But yeah, no, if you think you'll be interested in RT games, I do recommend it. He did some great stuff. I recommend City Skylines. City Skylines is maybe the best thing he's done. The Sims is pretty good. There's one other big one that I can't remember. Oh, the Minecraft story mode. I talked about that earlier. His Minecraft story mode is great. But the last YouTuber, and probably the most influential one for me this year, Mark Brown. British Gaming on Twitter. Mark Brown gets the thing because literally my entire year on Twitch was inspired by him. I found him at the very beginning of the year, like first week of January. I've come back to him all the time, watch a lot of his stuff. He's done tons of great stuff. But he's the reason I did the Year of Zelda. He did his Boss Key series on Zelda. I love so much. It made me just want to play Zelda games. And I did it for the entire year. He's probably the most influential on my channel, or for doing these Twitch streams. I love him. I loved his stuff. And yeah, that's all. That's everyone I have written down. We'll do this again next year. I may also post these on Twitters just to make your lives easier. So go Twitter at Fauxchrome, FAUXCHROME. And I'll probably post a bunch of like retweets there. I might. I make no promises. Again, I spelled out a few of them. But yeah, no, those are all the ones I liked this year. With all that, those were like my honorable mentions. Let's get to my game of the year. Now, like I said, my Smash, you know, it should have. It's not that it should have been it, and it's not that I'm disappointed it isn't. It's just, it seems like it's the most obvious choice, and normally it should be, because again, I rated Smash Ultimate better than I did my Game of the Year, but hey, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. My Game of the Year is Celeste. Very beginning of the year, again, I reviewed it, I talked about how I only picked it up because I actually, you know, the big inspiration there for picking up Celeste was actually kind of Donkey. Donkey did in like 3 minutes, he just does the game perfectly, he does it great justice. And I loved Celeste. Well, okay, my complication is, it's about anxiety and depression and whatnot, and it does a great job at portraying those aspects. I don't have them, well, according to the DSM-5, I have depression, but I've never, the way people describe depression and the way I think about it, I don't think I have it, but, nah, that's the DSM-5 for you. If it ever gets that bad, I know, again, I've taken enough psychology classes in college to, like, know to go to the proper channels. But Celeste just hit a note with me, and it also is helped by, because again, this is my personal list, and platformers are my favorite genre. That's why Chicky-Doo is as high as it is. That's why Chicky-Doo is number 4, because I love platformers. And that's one of the reasons why Celeste is number 1. That's why Gris would have been on the list, even if it's short like I hear it, because it's a platformer. I love platformers, man. Except for the Big M. I've never been able to get into Mario as much as I'd like. But everyone else, but anything else, or Mega Man. Again, I've played a bunch of Mario games. I've played them all. Well, like all the mainline platformers. Never been able to get into Mega Man. I've only ever beaten 2 and 11. But Celeste it just struck a chord with me. It was exactly what I wanted. It's good and fair, and then you get into the B-side, and it's bullshit and difficult. But to get the full experience of the game, you never actually have to beat the B-side. And then there's the C-side, which I was not even talking about that. And yeah, I can get one if you played the game, or if you don't like difficulty. If you don't like difficulty in platformers, I still recommend it just because of the assist mode. Again, there's a great Mark Brown video there for you. But Celeste has you covered. But if you don't like difficulty, just don't play the B-side. You're never required to beat the B-side. They're adding new levels. Maybe even this month, all about even harder challenges. The D side, probably. I'm scared. I am scared. It's just, but as someone who loves platformers, and I love, a lot of the games I love, I'm not very good at. I might as well say, like, I love puzzle games. I am not good at puzzle games. I like roguelikes. I'm not good at roguelikes. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles for me, but I'm not bad at platformers. And yeah, no, I was able to beat Celeste without... I didn't even know Assist Mode was there until the Mark Brown thing. But yeah, I played Celeste. I beat Celeste. It just nailed it for me. And it just... It got to me in a way Smash couldn't. Because that's just not what the type of game Smash is. It was never going to strike the same chord Celeste was able to. It never had a chance to do what... And it's just, it's personal bias. Again, that's what it all falls down to. I can see why someone will love Smash Bros. More. But yeah, I love Celeste. It's my game of the year. You know, there's all these jokes about, like, if you start watching, like, Avengers Infinity War at 9:48 and 51 seconds on New Year's Eve, by the time it hits midnight, Thanos will, like, when it hits midnight, Thanos will snap. I love posts like that. I'm gonna be honest, that was a meme from last year that made a short resurface this year. Just on the day. Like, it was, I saw it everywhere leading up to New Year's. But it resurfaced on, like, just for a day. But, my goal was, instead of, I was considering doing the Infinity War one, but I didn't, like, I did out of it last minute. But instead, my goal was, can I beat Celeste by the time the clock strikes midnight? That didn't happen. When the clock hit midnight, I was at the tram scene. So I didn't make it that far. I made it, that's 4 levels in? I'm not going to spoil anything, of course. I beat the game the next day. I redid it. Mainly I was playing it to do my first ever all strawberry run, which I know the strawberries don't matter, but hey, it mattered to me. But I did it. I got all the strawberries, all the hearts, right? I didn't do the B side or the C side. I just did that. And yeah, I did it. And yeah, it's still great. Just played it. Just beat it on the first. Still a great game. I was actually snowed in on the first, so yeah, that happened. God, imagine me get all 3 of the boosts and not do it. And yeah, that's all I've got. Celeste is my highest recommendation. Even if you don't think you'll like it, still pick it up. I think it's $20. It is more than worth it. Just an amazing game. Even if you don't do it all, there's more than enough there. And yeah, that's my game of the year. It sucks that I lost 4, 5, and 6. But hey, I did a lot. We did a lot. So let's go around and check the Miiverse stuff as always. I call it Miiverse still. And then I'll talk about next week in my year of Blink this year. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's cute. Don't forget we're all one big family. Wait, what's that? Whether you spend the holidays with friends or family, remember we don't always have. Oh, that's cute. I don't need friends, they disappoint me. That's the perfect example of what I said at the very beginning. Friends, a friend is family, and vice versa. I like that. I really like that. 2009 is going to be epic. Christmas. Family is full of friends. You know, honestly, based on this is, I haven't had this in a while. Wait, if it's except when there's a DC, yeah, like that. You know, I didn't really have that many problems tonight. Like, I felt like while I lost some, I also definitely won some. And again, like always, I'll go off and actually I'm so close to it. I mean, we're halfway to champ already. So, or halfway to king or queen. So I might as well, I'll probably do that on my own while listening to the Adventure Zone, because, yeah, I need to finish that. But I do, yeah. Did you hear about the Nuka Dark Rum? That was so You know, I like the idea of a Fallout beverage. I have the Nuka-Cola Quantum that they did for Fallout 4. It doesn't come in a glass, like a Nuka-Cola bottle, but it's still kind of nice. I have one sitting on my shelf right there, next to my Ecto Cooler. But, yeah, no, they did Nuka Dark Rum, and I was like, oh, yeah, like a bottle of rum, right? It was $80, so I wasn't going to buy it either way, but I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then it's actually just a plastic shell instead of like a glass, and like just a normal glass bottle with a plastic shell around it instead of being like an actual Nuka Dark Rum, like a Nuka-Cola glass bottle, which is super disappointing. They say, oh, it would have cost like 2 times as much to actually make it with a glass bottle, but that's bullshit. We know it is. So yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah, that would have been cool. If it was cheaper, if it was just a small little bottle with like a glass bottle, totally would have done it. But nah. I also thought the rum wasn't that good. But so this year, so I like the idea of the theme year. I know there's this idea with streaming that, oh, you play what's new, so that way you get popular, you get big, or do you play what you enjoy, right? Complications, all that shit. But I like the idea of the theme year. Just play one game throughout the entire year. And this year's theme year isn't actually inspired, even though Mark Brown is related to it. It's not actually inspired by him. For this year, we're doing the year of Metroid. I have a prediction that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year. That's what I legitimately think. Plus, since I finally admitted last year that I like Metroidvanias, I think it's finally time for me to play some Metroid games. The only Metroid game I have played is I've played 2 and Other M. I have not played a single other Metroid game. So doing a year of Metroid makes perfect sense. And we're going to start off this year of Metroid with the original on NES. Now, this might go the same way that Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link did, in which poorly. I'm going to have a guide, though, and we're going to be doing it. I did consider doing Zero Mission, but I just can't be bothered. And from there, you can probably make some predictions of where it's going to go. But I've tried to budget myself a lot smaller this year because of what happened last year. I mean, we may get more done, we may get less done. Who knows? Again, I start back college up next week. But yeah, that's my 2018 in review. A lot of good games came out last year. A lot of games I didn't get to. But hey, there's always next year. There's always another year of me bitching about wanting a PS4 but never actually buying one, even though I have the money. I'm the absolute worst. I blame the amiibo. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace. Again, sorry about the cutout.